I could not have written Ready Player One if I had not grown up on a steady diet of Steven Spielberg movies. It would have been a different story, or I might not have written it at all. His work is woven into the fabric of my life. Everybody, I think, who dreams of making movies dreams of getting to work with him. It's a dream come true.
Great Scott! What? Great Scott! Great Scott! Great Scott! Great Scott! Oh, Great Scott!
Transporter room, emergency beam up now. Scotty, beam us up fast. Fast.
England does not look so different from Scotland.
Aye, they are sisters.
Queen Elizabeth, your cousin Mary has returned to take up her throne in Scotland.
The Queen!
My dear cousin Elizabeth, I hope we might meet in person, that I might embrace you. But ruling side by side, we must do so in harmony, not through a treaty drafted by men lesser than ourselves.
My dear cousin, let our nations cherish each other as we would, two kingdoms united.
How did the world come to this?
Wise men servicing the whims of women.
Mary is our foe. We must never bow to her as we bow before you.
You have the boldness to doubt my judgment. She is only your queen if I should not produce an heir.
What is it like to have a man? With heaven's blessing, we bring an heir to Scotland. To England.
It is a clear provocation.
We must make war in Scotland.
So put your skills to use.
Channel is open, Mr. Scott, and you are tied in.
This is Lieutenant Commander Scott. The Enterprise takes no orders except those of Captain Kirk, and we will stay right here until he returns. And if you make any attempt to board or commandeer the Enterprise, it will be blown to bits along with as many of you as we can take with us.
Full power, Mr. Scott.
The relays will reject the overload, Mr. Spock.
Then bypass the relays, go to manual control.
Do that, we'll burn out the engines.
I want full power, Mr. Scott.
Aye, sir. All right, you lovelies. Hold together.
For a self-described wartime president, victory over COVID-19 equals a vaccine.
I hope we're going to have a vaccine, and we're going to fast track it like you've never seen before.
Adding Trump-style branding, the administration launched Operation Warp Speed, a multi-billion-dollar research and manufacturing effort to shorten the typical year-plus vaccine development timeline.
One of the things is that I think that the administration deserves some credit getting this off the ground with Operation Warp Speed. And I also think that it's worth saying that there's great hope. I'm doing this to demonstrate that people should be prepared when it's available to take the vaccine. There's nothing to worry about. I'm looking forward to the second shot. So is Jill. She's had her shot earlier today. She loves shots, I know. But
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
There's so much disturbance that any attempt to get at the flow would rupture the magnetic field.
You have 8 minutes, 41 seconds.
Know what time it is. I don't need a bloomin' cuckoo clock.
Molly, come in! Great Scott! Great Scott! Great Scott! Great Scott!
Do not play into their hands. Our hatred is precisely what they hope for. I know your heart has more within it than the men who counsel you.
You would do well to watch your words.
I will not be scolded by my inferior.
Your inferior.
During our stay here, we were honoured to have the pleasure of meeting Donald Trump's mother, Mary Trump. We were invited to Donald's luxury suite on the 51st floor, where Mrs. Trump was lunching with our own Frank Patterson.
Well, Frank, you're sitting beside one of your greatest fans.
No doubt, Bibi. One of my greatest, and a great friend as well.
Yes.
Isn't that right, Mary?
We love Frank and Ailey and Ian, and we love them. They're great.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Trump, where did you first meet with Frank?
I think it was at the Plaza Hotel, wasn't it?
No.
Was it not?
At Booth Memorial Hospital.
That's right.
Frank came and did a concert for us.
Yes.
I had been a patient in there. I was mugged, and I was very sick. Frank and they came and did a concert for us in the hospital. That's where we met.
That's right, yeah.
And you absolutely love his music, don't you?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
We have all his tapes, all his cassettes,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, it's
And
wonderful.
you're excited about the concert tonight?
Oh, we're going to watch the concert probably twice.
Yeah, yeah.
And Monday night we're going to watch it again.
Yeah, you're coming, she's coming to Carnegie Hall on Monday night with us.
Yes, bringing a bunch of friends.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me ask you, Mrs. Trump, a little about your Scottish origins.
Uh-huh.
Where were you born?
In a little town called Stornoway, but the island of Lewis, way up in the Hebrides.
Don't you think you should rephrase that?
You're right. I should. I didn't mean to say that the Enterprise should be hauling garbage. I meant to say that it should be hauled away as garbage.
You must be that Scott fella that Kirk was talking to. I want to know what happened.
It looks like we put the bag on you, doesn't it?
I got rights.
You got nothing. You mind your place, mister, or you'll be wearing concrete galoshes.
Way up in the Hebrides.
Yeah.
Beautiful little island.
And did you live there for most of your life?
Oh, yes, I lived there. I grew up there. Came to New York. Met my husband.
That's right, yeah.
Went back to Scotland and came back to New York to get married.
And Frank, of course, you now live in New York as well. You and I do.
We do. We live up in Bronxville, up in Westchester, and we love it here too. You know, but I think that the reason that Mary likes the Irish music is the fact that you are from the Stornoway.
Oh, of course.
You know,
I think
the Scottish and the Irish music
very
goes so well
similar.
together. You know.
The country looks.
Yes.
They're very intertwined.
That's right. Yeah.
Are you afraid, Henry?
No.
Good. Because our swords are not just for show.
Excitable, emotional, prone to fantasy.
There's nothing wrong with me. One pill makes you larger, and one pill makes you small.
You've been gone too long, Alice. And do mind your step.
And you know you're going to fall,
I seek
young lady. Her hair?
Yes.
Yellowish. Her name, Alice.
We have a scourge upon our land. 'Tis a woman with a crown.
Tick tock. Your time is up. Alice. Now, tell me, when does Alice arrive?
Your beauty, your bravery. Now I see there is no cause for envy. Your gifts will be your downfall.
Should you murder me, remember you murder your sister. And you murder your queen.
Great Scott! Great Scott! Great Scott! Great Scott! I know, this is heavy.
And then we met later then again. The reason I mentioned the plaza was we were doing that fundraiser for the St. Patrick's Home.
That's right, yes.
You know, for the
we
Carmelite
met,
sisters.
We met a lot of times.
Yeah, and Fred and yourself support that cause.
Oh, yes.
And Donald was there as well
Yes.
that night.
We
Of course, poor Donald can't be with us because he's over in Hollywood, over in Los Angeles,
Donald,
isn't
he got a call from Steven Spielberg. Could he come and make a cameo in some movie that Spielberg is doing? And of course, Donald didn't want to say no.
Well, we can understand that. It's slightly more important than the BB show, Frank, isn't it?
Yes, we're ready. Okay, Mr. Spielberg, shalom.
Shalom.
Thank you for speaking to us. This movie is a futuristic movie. Dystopian society tries to escape the hardness of reality by going into a virtual world.
Yes.
Sounds very familiar comparing to what we're having today, isn't it?
Well, today we have smartphones and we have devices, and if we don't like the world we're in, we could just put our heads into our devices, as we often do, and basically get lost in something you can hold in your hand. And this movie says that through new technology, you'll be able to get lost by something you put over your eyes.
And I wonder, do you sometimes feel like you want to escape? I mean, I've heard you speaking after the previous movie, The Post, saying that you did it urgently because of what's happening in the United States. Do you think that that's the right approach, or either escaping is the right approach?
When the world is in need of a lot of tikkun olam, I think escape is the wrong choice to make. When there's so much, there's such a social necessity for all of us to have a voice, to have a vote, to fix what's wrong today.
Come in, won't you?
What is it that puts a man out of step with the people around him?
Perhaps he hears a different music, Mr. Harkins.
Perhaps. Thank you, Mr. Mason. Good day.
The peaceful transfer of authority is rare in history. As I begin, with a simple oath, we affirm old traditions and make new beginnings. We know the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong. Do you not think an angel rides in the whirlwind and directs this storm? This work continues. The story goes on. And an angel still rides in the whirlwind and directs this storm.
And when President Trump says, for example, that there are good people from both sides, how does that make you feel?
Like we have a president that can't see.
And I don't know if I guess you've heard about the new Polish law banning speaking about Poland's part in collaborating with the Nazi regime. How do you feel about that?
I've heard about a law that says you can be incarcerated if you talk publicly, and of course that's the first violation of the most important rule in our Bill of Rights in the Constitution, which is freedom of speech, and that completely violates everything I was taught as a child, and which I have instilled in my children.
And coming from Israel, I know that Israel has a very special spot in your heart.
Yes.
Israel is turning 70 in the next few weeks.
No, I've already turned 70.
Well, no, but now it's Israel's turn.
Oh, it's Israel's turn to turn 70.
Yeah, Israel is.
Well, let's see how they like it.
So, as someone who's been there, what do you have to say to Israel and to the Israeli viewers?
You know, you're only as old as you feel. And I think Israel, because of its youth, is a young and vital country and probably doesn't feel a day over 20.
Calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious...
What did I tell you? Miles per hour! The thermal displacement occurred exactly 1:20 a.m.
What a great honor to be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government, while the people have borne the cost.
We take Gotham from the corrupt, the rich, the oppressors of generations who have kept you down with myths of opportunity, and we give it back to you, the people.
We are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people.
Gotham is yours. None shall interfere. Do as you please.
This is your celebration, and this, the United States of America, is your country.
Step forward those who would serve, for an army will be raised.
The time for empty talk is over. Now arrives the hour of action.
The powerful will be ripped from their decadent nests and cast out into the cold world that we know and endure.
We will reinforce old alliances and form new ones, and unite the civilized world against radical Islamic terrorism, which we will eradicate completely from the face of the earth.
Courts will be convened.
We will bring back our jobs.
Spoils will be enjoyed.
We will bring back our borders.
Blood will be shed.
We will bring back our wealth.
The police will survive as they learn to serve true justice.
We will be protected by the great men and women of our military and law enforcement.
This great city, it will endure.
Together, we will make America strong again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again.
Gotham will survive.
We will make America great again.
It's tough to separate Donald Trump from his hometown of New York City. In fact, his family has a long history in the Big Apple, starting with his grandparents. Friedrich and Elizabeth Trump were both born in Karlstadt, Germany, and actually grew up across the street from one another. In the 1880s, Friedrich ventured to North America, making a small fortune during Alaska's gold rush operating restaurants and brothels. After Friedrich returned to Germany and married Elizabeth in 1902, the young couple left for a place where all immigrants could find a home, New York City. The city part of that was relatively new. The 5 boroughs had only formally incorporated 4 years prior.
How did things ever get so far? I don't know. It was so unfortunate, so unnecessary. Italia lost the son. I lost the son. We're quits. And if Italia agrees, then I'm willing to let things go on the way they were before.
We are all grateful to Don Corleone for calling this meeting. We all know him as a man of his word. A modest man, he'll always listen to reason.
Yes, Don Barzini. He's too modest. He had all the judges and politicians in his pocket. He refused to share them.
When did I ever refuse an accommodation? All of you know me here. When did I ever refuse? Except one time. And why? Because I believe this drug business is going to destroy us in the years to come. I mean, it's not like gambling or liquor, or even women, which is something that most people want nowadays, and it's forbidden to them by the bits and avanti of the church. Even the police departments that have helped us in the past with gambling and other things are going to refuse to help us when it comes to narcotics. And I believed that then, and I believe that now.
Times have changed. It's not like the old days, where we can do anything we want. A refusal is not the act of a friend. Don Corleone had all the judges and the politicians in New York. Then he must share them. All it others use them. He must let us draw the water from the well.
Hey, Stephen! Thank God. I had a horrible feeling I was going to be the only one here.
I reckon that's not the last horrible feeling you're going to have today, mate.
This can't be happening, can it?
You said it. What the hell are we doing here?
Well, we always did. Follow Gary King into almost certain oblivion. Hello, Stephen. All right, mate. Pete. Hi, mate. Didn't we decide to stop calling him Fearless Leader somewhere around 1992?
Old habits die hard.
They'll be putting that on Gary's tombstone.
No, they won't, you know. He'll outlive us all.
That'd be funny if it wasn't true.
Hang on a sec. What? So I'm just trying to decide which of us is the biggest idiot for coming.
Maybe he had an accident. Oh, sorry, Andy. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I think Gary having an accident would actually be the best outcome for all of us, including Gary. Unbelievable.
Oh, yes. Look at these cunts.
You're late.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. You said 3, it's almost 4.
Yeah, 3 for 4.
You know your problem, Gary? You're never wrong.
How is that a problem?
I can't believe you bought another Granada Mark II.
What do you mean?
But this looks exactly like the car I sold you in 1989.
This is the car you sold me in 1989. Best 300 quid I ever spent.
This is the beast.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, she's had a bit of work done. I had to replace the brakes, suspension, exhaust, seats, wheels, paneling, carburetor, manifold, whole engine, really. Mirrors, headlamps. Other than that, she's the same old motor.
You could almost say an antique.
Well, then let's get this antique on the road show! Come on, you bellends, we're going to be late.
And we're back.
Just like the 5 Musketeers.
3 Musketeers, isn't it?
4 if you count D'Artagnan.
Well, nobody knows how many there were, really, do they, Pete? I mean, history's a sketchbook.
You do know that The Three Musketeers is a fiction, right? Written by Alexander Dumas.
The Trumps first settled in with Friedrich's sister in Morrisania, a rapidly growing German neighborhood in the Bronx. Today, a nail salon occupies their old address. But even though they lived amongst their countrymen, Elizabeth quickly became homesick. After giving birth to their first child, also named Elizabeth in 1904, the growing family traveled back to Deutschland. But the German government wouldn't allow Friedrich to regain his citizenship, claiming he had only left for America in the first place to avoid the German Empire's mandatory military service. So, back to New York it was. They found their next home again in the Bronx, an apartment building that still stands today. Now home to a liquor store. Elizabeth soon gave birth to their second child and first son, Frederick Christ, although he was known as Fred from an early age. A third child, John George, would be born 2 years later. To provide for his young family, Friedrich set up a barber shop in Lower Manhattan, shaving and trimming men of finance at 60 Wall Street, now the headquarters of Deutsche Bank. But Friedrich wouldn't be satisfied with cutting rich men's hair for long. He wanted to be the one in the chair. So, in September 1908, he bought his first property as an investment, a 2-story dwelling in the Woodhaven neighborhood of Queens. To supplement his income, he took up a job as manager at the German-owned Medallion Hotel in Midtown Manhattan. The hotel has since been demolished, and the property now exists as a parking lot. Soon after, the whole Trump family moved to Queens to be closer to Friedrich's real estate interests, settling in a 2-story house in Woodhaven. Still a house today.
As Pope Francis concluded the general audience in the Paul VI Audience Hall, the sound of bagpipes and drums could be heard among the crowd. Before long, many of the remaining attendees began clapping along to the contagious rhythm. The tune's performers, a group called Bagpipes of the Dragon, are making their third appearance at the audience. Although the visits are usually during this season, this year's trip was a bit more meaningful. This coming year will mark our 10th anniversary. This is the third time we've come to play for the Pope. We're here to celebrate the Pope and his birthday and wish him a Merry Christmas. Bagpipes of the Dragon are from the small lakeside town of Bolsena, about 90 miles northwest of Rome. The band's 20 members seek to revive some of the region's medieval culture, complementing their bagpipe and drum numbers with customary attire from the era. While maintaining tradition by playing in parades and concerts, the group is also participating in a custom involving the Holy Father that is surely unique. We in Bolsena have a tradition of always bringing eels. They're in Lake Bolsena, and for some years we have offered them to the Pope. This year we brought them live. Dante Alighieri in Purgatory talks about the eels of Lake Bolsena, so it's a very old tradition from before the Middle Ages. It's a tribute we make to the Pope every year. Although Bagpipes of the Dragon weren't able to meet Pope Francis as they did last year, the group was more than happy to add a medieval touch to the audience.
Don't ask me what you know is true. Don't have to tell you I love your precious heart. I was standing, you were there. Two worlds collided, and they could never tear us apart. We could live for 1,000 years, but if I hurt you, I make wine from your tears. I told you that we could fly, 'cause we all have wings, but some of us don't know why. I was standing, you were there. Two worlds collided, and they could never, ever tear us apart. To the clan MacLeod! MacLeod! Victory to MacLeod! Death to the MacLeod!
A future that Ernest Cline, the writer of the book, envisioned. I was very careful with Ernie collaborating with me every step of the way to be able to find the movie narrative inside this dense forest of Ernie's profound imagination.
The Oasis being the ultimate toy box with all the toys in the world, and then playing that with one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. It results in just amazing action and such a fun adventure.
Ernest Cline is such a visionary, and I think has seen the future before any of us possibly could even imagine it.